The Emberton II takes the already impressive Emberton and makes it even better. But in a world of portable speakers that is already so competitive, does it deserve a place on your shortlist? Let's find out. Hey guys, it's the season for portable speakers and we are spoilt for choice at the moment. We revealed two new Marshall speakers a few weeks ago and having spent the last few weeks testing the new Marshall Emberton II, we're now ready to share our thoughts. Now, this Emberton II will also be featuring in our upcoming portable speaker comparison video, which will be linked below if we've already filmed it, or make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out. We do stock these on our website as well, guys, so if you want to give us a try, then make the most of our extended 30-day returns and see what you think. This Marshall Emberton II is a really interesting one actually, and we can't wait to hear what you guys think after watching this review. For us, there are going to be people who love it and they'll be buying it straight away, but for some of you, it might not tick all of your boxes. So stick around until the end when we cover what those might actually be. So let's kick things off then with the key need-to-knows about the Emberton II then. Now in its second generation, it's retained the same form factor and Marshall distinctive vintage styling, which is no bad thing at all. But it's also added some more things like a fully waterproof IP67 rating now, an impressive 30-hour battery life, which is a big improvement on 20 hours for the first gen, Bluetooth 5.1, and a new speaker stack technology, which I'll explain that in a bit, all crammed into a package for $149.99. So you can pick one up in a color choice of black and brass, which is this one, or cream. Both look really nice. Now I'm really pleased and admittedly surprised that Marshall have not increased the price since the last generation, and given the new upgrades, that price now seems even better value. Now I'm sure you want to dive in and see how it sounds, but I first want to take a closer look at the Emberton II, as the styling is one of the most unique things about this speaker, and also one of the things I really love about it. While offering the classic Marshall aesthetic, it's now been revamped for 2022. So if I put the Emberton I alongside each other, you can see there's a couple of differences, most notably in the grille color, so it's now been painted all black. The Marshall logo is now a brass color instead of a white. And then on the top, you can see that there's sort of a more textured material, which helps it to be a little bit more rugged. So it's less smooth than the original one, giving you a little bit more confidence when you're taking it out and about. Now, before I even talk about the speaker itself, I have to give Marshall credit for the packaging on the new Emberton. It is all 100% recyclable cardboard packaging in a neat, compact box. There's pretty much no bigger than an average smartphone box these days. And you literally just have the speaker itself, the USB-C cable, and the instructions inside. There's no fuss here, which is really great to see. First impressions of the speaker itself then, it's similar to its predecessor in the way that it's a little bit heavier than you think when you get it out of the box at 0.7 kilograms, which doesn't sound a lot, but it is actually a touch heavier than other portable speakers in its class. I'll flash up the dimensions now for you, and you can see it just about fits in the palm of my hand. Now, it's not dual orientation like some others on the market. You're meant to keep it laying down on a flat surface, but this rubber base on the bottom just helps it to cling onto the surface that it's standing on anyway, so that doesn't really bother me too much. In terms of the colors used here, it's really just a two-tone system of black and brass, and I have to say, I much prefer this brass color for the Marshall logo than the white one on the previous Emberton. So I think this is a really stylish looking portable speaker overall. I'd happily have this in my own home because I'm personally a fan of this aesthetic. Now this rocker button on the top, I've said in the past and I'll say it again, it's a really nice quality. Sometimes I find myself just pressing it because it feels good. Ooh. Very nice. Now this is a multi-function button, which means it can handle your play pause, your skip track, previous track, and volume up and down. It's also used for your power as well, and it plays a lovely little chime when you turn it off and on. Next to that, you can see you have your Bluetooth pairing, and also to the right of that, you have your LED battery life indicator, which is actually very useful to have. And then on the side here, you also have your USB-C charging input. And yes, you can still listen to music on it when it's charging. I have to say, overall, the Emberton II feels really durable, which brings me on nicely to the durability section, which I'll hand over to our resident portable speaker destroyer, Louis.
So guys, we're going to kick off our durability test with a dunk test. Now, just before we do, the Emberton has been slightly upgraded on this version 2 in comparison to the first model. So the Emberton 1 was IPX7 rated, and the Emberton 2 is now IP67 rated, which means it's waterproof in 1 meter's worth of water for up to 30 minutes, but it's also dustproof. But we're going to start with the dunk test. So the 30 minutes are up, and as you can hear, still playing absolutely fine. So we're outside now, guys. We're going to take a closer look at the durability on this Emberton 2. So on initial impressions, it's got a really nice hard wearing rubber material around the outside. That covers the top and the sides and the bottom of the speaker, and there's nothing really that's going to fall off or break on this speaker. And even if you dropped it face down on the Marshall logo, I don't think any letters are going to fall off, so you're not going to end up with an Marshall speaker. What's also great is that the Emberton 2 actually comprises of 50% post-consumer recycled plastic from used electronics, water bottles and car light covers, and is 100% PVC free, so nice to see Marshall doing their bit for the planet. So as you guys may know by now, there's a reason I've been given the nickname the Portable Speaker Destroyer, and that's because I really like to put these portable speakers through their paces, whether that's taking them mountain biking, hiking, climbing, camping, whatever it might be. Now, on initial impressions, I think chucking this in a bag for the weekend and taking it away is going to hold up really well, but we're going to put that to the test. Though I will point out it's a bit heavier than other portable speakers on the market. For example, something like the Flip 6 is around half a kilo, whereas the Emberton 2 is 0.7 kilos, and I can definitely feel a difference. It's only a small thing, but for taking around with you, those are the small details that you notice. So to be honest, the only thing I'm really worried about the Emberton 2 is the grille. I think it might pick up a couple of scratches and maybe a dent or two along the way, and it's kind of like scuffing your alloys. You really don't want to ruin the aesthetic of it. So as much as I don't want to do this, let's go drop it. So just finished our drop test, guys, and as you can see, the speakers actually held up pretty well. Now, to be fair, there were a couple of times when we dropped it on the concrete where a little bit of the plasticky rubber casing slightly came away from the grille, but all we had to do was literally just push it back in. So it was absolutely fine. And in terms of shaking it around now, you can't hear anything inside moving. So I think it's definitely passed our drop tests.
So here he is, Louis back. What do you think about the Emberton for durability then?
Yeah, so I guess for someone who's not like me, he rarely goes out on wild adventures and prefers to just chill outside with friends and have some music on in the background, and I think this is the sort of speaker that would really appeal to that sort of person. So I guess ultimately what you need to ask yourself is, what type of person are you? Is that could be quite a simple way of finding out if the Emberton 2 is the right portable speaker for you.
Yeah, so it sounds like the Emberton sort of is offering a really nice balance between durability and keeping that premium finish.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned it at the start, but it's really important to emphasize as well how good that 30 hours battery life really is. And arguably, it's probably the best thing about the Emberton 2, because most portable speakers on the market these days, they don't get much past 20 hours. So this really should keep you going for multiple days. So it means you can go away for a weekend away or something like a festival, and if you've forgotten the charger or you're not going to have access to power, then chances are it's still going to last all the way through. And I love that it has a quick charge feature as well. Again, something you're really hard pressed to find on portable speakers at this price. So a 20-minute charge is going to get you 4 hours of playback time, which is really good, and it'll only take 3 hours to charge from dead to full, which again is really impressive. Now, Louis, I know you've been testing out the battery of the Emberton 2. How has it got on?
Yeah, so I've been filming all of the shots for this video with this speaker over the last 2-3 days or so, with music blasting whilst I've been filming for hours at a time. And I have to say, I haven't even thought about the battery life, which is fantastic. It's been well up there around about that 30-hour mark, so that's a massive tick in the box for me.
The only other thing I would say, it is a bit of a shame that they didn't include any microphones on the Emberton 2 like you get with something like the Bose SoundLink Flex, as I think this would have really added to its value. I know a lot of people use their speaker as a speakerphone. We've seen them in the comments, haven't we?
Yeah.
When you're at home, and I think it would have been a simple addition. Definitely one thing that's missing from the Emberton. Anyway, thanks Louis for your input. Right then, moving swiftly on to sound quality then. Now inside you get dual 2-inch full range 10-watt drivers and a pair of passive radiators for extra bass. Now this has stayed the same from the original Emberton. There's no upgrades in terms of sound quality, so it's still a stereo speaker in its own right, which really helps with the soundstage. Now, what is quite unique about the Emberton II is that it has this thing called true stereophonic 360-degree sound. So you'll notice on the back of the speaker, there's another grille because it has a unique form of multi-directional sound, and that gives it less of a sweet spot. So most portable speakers are front-facing, and as a result, they sound better when they're listened to head-on. But the Emberton separates out the spatial content of stereo recording, so it can be enjoyed from all angles, and in our testing, works really well. So you'll know this is just a Bluetooth speaker. There's no Wi-Fi smarts here, but that's absolutely fine, seeing as we're probably going to be using this outside or out and about. It is also Bluetooth 5.1, which will give you easily about a 10-meter range. It'll also be visible on the Marshall Bluetooth app, which is a fairly basic but functional app where you can adjust the EQ preset. So it's not a full EQ, but you can boost the bass with the push mode or voice mode for more clarity on more vocal focused content. I tend to leave mine just on Marshall mode, which is a good balance on everything, but the options are there if you want them. The other thing worth mentioning on the app is the stack mode, where you can connect your speaker to as many other Emberton II speakers as you like, so they're all playing in sync. But you can also start a stack session by just triple pressing the Bluetooth pairing button. Now, I haven't actually tried this setting, but it is a nice new addition and means you can double the sound if you have two of these, or just continuously add more Embertons until your heart's content. So how good does it actually sound? Well, here's a sound test for you guys so you can make your own mind up about it. So grab some headphones if you have them, as you'll get a better idea of how it sounds. Usual disclaimer that this is never going to translate the performance over YouTube and your device as well as we can hear in this room, but it should give you a flavor of what to expect. So in terms of the sound profile of the Emberton II, it produces a classic Marshall sound, which is a warm, enjoyable sound. Now it's clear that Marshall are appealing to people who love their rock music, indie, pop, and all of those genres really suits the sound profile. But I was certainly not unimpressed with more bass-heavy electronic or even instrumental music. The vocals are good, but sometimes can lose clarity at those higher volumes. Though the vocal boost mode did help with this, but it has to be said, for most of the music we listened to at about the 60 to 80% mark sounded great overall, and this will definitely fill a smallish size space or outdoor space really easily. Overall, I would say the price of £149 is bang on for the sound quality that you get, and the 360-degree sound will be a real benefit for some. Now, if you're looking at buying the Emberton II, then you're probably going to be shopping around. So we will be doing a full in-depth portable speaker comparison, including sound tests, but I'll just give you an idea of where we think this speaker sits in the market for sound performance. So as you can see, I've grabbed the SoundLink Flex and the Flip 6, two of our front runners in the portable speaker market right now. So overall, if someone was going to give me any of these speakers, I would not be disappointed. They all offer an impressive sound performance, but with different sound profiles. Personally, I think features and design should be a main deciding factor, but I will try to pick the main highlight for these speakers sound performance wise. So the Bose SoundLink Flex stands out when it comes to bass. The sound profile is nice and balanced, but that bass is fantastic for filling larger size spaces. The Flip 6 for me can go the loudest, again, great for parties, but the Emberton II I would say is an all-rounder with an enjoyable sound performance. Now the Emberton isn't made for big parties as it lacks a little bit of bass when you turn it up to near maximum. The Emberton is more for smaller, more laid-back gatherings, I'd say. It gives you a smoother, more relaxed festival feeling. Don't get me wrong, the Emberton is still really loud and it can handle lots of different music genres, but I think the Emberton is going to be better placed in relaxed outdoor settings. For me, I'm going to go as far as saying this is one of the best looking portable speakers on the market at the moment, and it's got some great plus points. Most notably, the design, battery life and sound profile if it suits your style. You might have owned Marshall products in the past and you want to continue the legacy, but if you didn't like the look of it, then you probably wouldn't have made it this far in the video anyway. However, with anything, it's not going to be perfect for everyone. If you think you'd make use of a speakerphone or plan on being really active with your speaker and would prefer a speaker sort of really designed to be chucked about, or maybe has the added extra of a strap, then you might want to look at other options available. This is more for taking with you on a break, out into the garden, the park, or camping, etc. Those sorts of things. So that's it, guys. Make sure you let me know in the comments before you go what your thoughts are on it. Would you go for it, or is there something else that you would buy instead? Don't forget to check out our portable speaker comparison or subscribe if it's not up yet, and I'll see you next time.